Alright, so we're going to be doing a thermostat and a coolant temp sensor on a 2014 Silverado 1500 5.3. So the issue that I'm currently having with it is the coolant is reading about 190 degrees constantly. So I have plenty good heat, so it's got to be either the thermostat stuck open or the temp sensor is reading incorrectly, but it's better to just do both of them since they're easily accessible on top of the motor right here underneath of this air intake, and they're right next to each other. So what we're going to do, we're going to take this intake tube off. I'm just using a regular standard flathead screwdriver. Loosen up a little more. Maybe I'll loosen this one up here for a while. And there we go. So we got that pulled off, and then right here you got some vacuum lines. You just push up on the bottom. Give them a little twist. You got one on the other side. This one. There we go. Same deal. Pull it out. There you go. You get the intake off. So now, as you can see right here, we have your coolant temp sensor, and then right here is your thermostat. And it looks like maybe mine's been done at one point, the thermostat or the coolant temp sensor, because there's usually a safety retainer clip that slides down into this connector, kind of like well, there's not a good example, but well, right here, kind of like this red one right here on this intake or this throttle body. So I think that's been done before, but maybe it's a aftermarket one and it failed. But so I'm gonna show you what we got for parts here. This is just what my local Advance Auto had in stock. So I got a motor rad, thermostat, and here's your part number. And comes in the whole housing. And then for the temp sensor, I went AC Delco. And surprisingly, the parts or Advance actually had it in stock. So there's your part number for that. And then we're gonna have to drain some coolant, probably about a gallon, I'd say. So when we're done here, I'm going to bleed the coolant. I got a coolant funnel, so we'll show you the steps for that. All right, so our next step here is we're going to, I'm just going to go ahead and see if there's a bleeder screw or bleeder valve on the bottom of the radiator, and see if we can get a couple of gallons out that way. And it looks like we're going to need a 10 millimeter. Oh, first, a good idea though is maybe come over here and go to your coolant reservoir. I mean, it probably doesn't really matter since you're going to be bleeding it, but as you can hear, just let some of that pressure out of it. Screw the lid back on. All right. Yeah, so the next thing I'm going to do is get the creeper. I'm going to look for a coolant bleed valve. But to access the bleeder, the coolant bleeding screw on the radiator, we're gonna have to take this passenger fender wheel liner out. And to do that, you need a 1/4 inch ratchet with a T15. And then you got it looks like you have 1, 2, 3. About 17 of them to take out. Okay, so I'm just pulling the fender liner out here. Oh, looks like I forgot a bolt. Hold on. So yeah, there's a few more than 17 as I previously said. Okay. Don't tell me another one. There it is. So for some reason there's like 6 in the corner. That's odd. Look how many are in this corner, just this one corner. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So yeah, after we get this fender liner out, we'll be able to have access to the radiator drain. Alright, just pull it out like that. And then you go in here and you look. You might have to stick your phone in here, but if you see where my finger's pointing, yeah, go a little further. There you go, right there. Yep. So if you see right here, here's the radiator drain plug. Now you probably could get to it with the fender liner still in, but alright, so the next thing is though is you want to make sure you don't break that plug. But we're gonna get a drain pan to drain some of that coolant into. Will this fit though? I don't think it will. Oh no. Got my drain pan underneath it here. And we're gonna go ahead and try to twist on this plug and see if we can drain some of the coolant. Oh, it's hard to reach with your left hand. Let's get in there with my right hand. Well, let's see if I can do it from underneath. Just at least loosen it up. Now, where was it? Right here? There we go. I got it loose. Okay. Come over here. There we go. I think maybe if I take the cap off of the reservoir, it'll drain a little faster. Give it some flow. There we go. You can hear it pick up speed. All right, so we drained about a gallon of coolant. As you can see, our reservoir is empty here. So now what we're gonna do is we have 3 bolts on the top, 2 hose clamps. We got a pair of pliers, so the tools you'll need for this is a pair of pliers, and these are gonna be 10 millimeter, a quarter or 3/8 will work, doesn't matter, whatever you have. So we're gonna start by taking these hose clamps off, and then we're gonna take these hoses off, and we're gonna try to flip this one back and just keep it from bleeding a bunch of coolant, but it'll have a little bit in the line, so expect it to spill some. But the reason we drained it is so then that way it can, like, if you pull this hose up and hold it up, it'll drain the coolant that's in the hose back into the radiator. You'll have some room so it doesn't spill out a bunch. So, and then we'll take these 3 10 millimeters off. And then for the temp sensor, it's just this pigtail harness or this clip. And then I'll have to get the size for the actual sensor itself. But when we get there, I'll give you the size on that. And then we're gonna go ahead and do this thermostat housing first. All right, so we're gonna go ahead and start by taking off the clamp for the upper radiator hose. Oop. Sometimes these things can be a pain. Just slide it back enough so we know that it's off the housing of the thermostat. There we go. Should be plenty good there. And if you can't get that to break free, well, hold on. We'll go ahead and we'll do a smaller hose clamp too as well. Of course, they put this one in a tight spot. There we go. I got it to turn a little bit. So we'll go ahead. Oh. And they do make a tool for doing this, but I don't have it. Well, come on now. Right, there we go. Go ahead and flip that up. Here, drain back down into the radiator. Well, we'll flap a little bit, that'll spill out, I guess, but what we'll do is we'll tuck it here in this fan shroud. And that way it doesn't leak out. Alright, and we'll go ahead, and while we're here, unclip the harness for your temp sensor. Take our 10 millimeter. Loosen these all up. Now you are going to lose a little bit of coolant out of it, but that's okay. I put the drain pan back underneath here. Okay, so we got our 3 10 millimeters out. I was gonna look to see if there's any markings on here that would tell me if this is a OEM thermostat, but I don't really see anything. So, well, yeah, right here on the side. Yeah, it is. Right there it says GM, so it's about due. It's at 133,000, a little over 133,000 miles. Then you want to just double check, because there's a gasket right here. And the new one does come with a new gasket, but it looks like it's a little bit different. Let's look at the new one. Yep, okay, so it's the same gasket, it just comes with a new one. So we'll go ahead and take that old gasket off of there. Alright, got the old gasket off. Before we install our new one, I think we're going to go ahead and go and find the size that we need for our temp sensor and get that replaced too. Alright, so I got a 19 mil wrench. I'm going to use the open end. There we go. It shouldn't take too much force. You probably could use a socket, but wrench was the first thing I found. But if you use a socket and a ratchet, it'll probably be a little bit faster than this. But you'll have to use a 19 millimeter 3/8 deep well socket. This is going to come out tight. Not tight, but not finger loose either. You'll have to use a wrench for socket for the majority of the way. That's because they come with factory thread lock. Alright, so we're about 3/4 of the way there. You can see some of that sealant. Alright. Then take the sealant, this old residue, wipe some of that off of there. Go ahead and grab our new AC Delco temp sensor. And then I guess you want to double check as well, because yep, on this old one you can see there's an orange crush washer. On this new one there's just a regular silver crush washer, maybe just a regular washer, but there's also the thread lock I was saying. Either way, just want to make sure you have a clean mating surface. So it looks like there's just a little bit more gunk on there. Wipe it off with my finger. Go ahead and we'll install the new temperature or new temp sensor. Maybe I'll see what I can do is, yeah, use the ratchet again. There we go. Now it didn't take a whole lot of pressure to break free, so I wouldn't really like reef it down. Once you start to feel it get tight. There we go. It's probably good enough. Maybe just line it up back to how the clip was. It's as tight as I'm gonna go with it. Go ahead and, yep, just want to make sure we always have a good connection. Alright, so now we're going to go ahead, we're going to install our thermostat. There we go. Take our three 10 millimeters. Get those started by finger, by hand. So like I said, the reason I'm doing this is I had a constant temp at 190, and these things are supposed to run at 210. So either the temp sensor was failing, or, because like I said, I still had good heat, so either the temp sensor was failing, or the thermostat was stuck open. So now after replacing it, because you always want to see 210 on the dash for your coolant temp. Find a ratchet here. I did put it up there. Before you just go and fully tighten one bolt down, just kind of go around and work them down evenly. Also, same thing with these. These don't have to be super tight. It's got a nice thick gasket. And these housings are just made of plastic, so you don't want to crack them. So what we're going to do, just make sure they all feel evenly tight, that the gap is sealed in between the housing and your aluminum here. Probably wouldn't be a bad idea to use some like blue Loctite on these, but it's not required. All right, so I already went ahead and I slipped this, you know, I'm not really sure what that is. Coolant return line, maybe? I believe so. Went ahead and I slipped that on already. I'm gonna go ahead and slip this upper radiator hose back on. Take our pliers here. Reset the hose clamp. Sometimes it'll slip. Oh, come on now. Sometimes it'll just want to be a pain and fight you the whole time. There we go. We'll take this clamp and get it. Face it back into that position that it was in. I say it's good enough. Or do I? There we go, that's good. Just want to go and run your finger around the edge and make sure you're on it good. Just take an old rag and just try to wipe some of this coolant out of your ear. Looks like we got a little bit of fraying of our wire loom. All right, let's go ahead and check your hoses. Make sure you're good. I don't know. I'm gonna adjust this clamp one more time. There we go. Couple more times, I guess. There we go. I like that. Got everything hooked back up here. We're gonna go ahead and I mean, not the most expensive coolant. I just have some Fram ready to use, deck school. Either way, you just want to make sure that you're using some deck school. We're gonna go ahead and fill our reservoir back up here. It's gonna bleed some of that down. All right, you can see it's taking some of it down there. Intake back on here. I'm gonna start by getting the one on the air intake box. It's not on there all the way, but I'll get it. So we'll go ahead and push that one on. Come back over to our air intake box. Alright, take our screwdriver. I'm gonna go ahead and make sure we're sealed. Yep. Alrighty. This one. There we go. Go ahead and tighten this one back up. Alrighty, we're all good there. Plug these lines back in. I don't know if it's supposed to snap on there or something. I would assume. Oh, it did. There we go. It's locked on there now. Same deal with that side, alright. So yeah, you just gotta push up on the clip there and slide it back on. Alright, so that's all back on. Now, the next thing I'm gonna do here, before we forget, we're gonna wanna come back down here to this wheel well and tighten this drain plug back up. All right, so now what we'll do is we'll go ahead and take this cap and the funnel. This is going to be the one that screws onto your coolant reservoir. And we're gonna crack the garage door here because we're gonna have to run the truck. Right, so now what we're gonna do, so now you're gonna wanna make sure you got something that you can siphon a little bit of coolant with. But we're gonna go ahead, and I mean, we are kind of overfilling we're gonna overfill the reservoir a little bit. As you can see, it's gonna work out some air bubbles there. Okay, now I think if we need to add any more, we're going to use some water. Wow. I want to fill it up, just a little bit of water here. Just because this coolant does require some water. About that much there.